key to a successful business is remembering the customer's king, because without them, we're nobody. And so I, from a chef's point of view, always put myself in a customer's situation where I see it from their eyes. I don't cook for chefs. Every time chefs come into the dining room, the first thing they do is turn up the place upside down and start photographing the food, and they're constantly, dissecting the food as opposed to enjoying it. So I always look at it from a customer's perspective, because they're king, and without them, we're history. Stay in front of the competition, because there's two ways in this industry. You move with it, or it moves you. And I've seen so many sad stories across the decade where chefs have just got lazy, given up, and lost that hunger to be competitive, because it's the best job in the world. That's not really a job, it's a passion. Because when you're rubbing shoulders, and here we are now, 10 years later, and I've got a restaurant next door to Jamie Oliver's, and we're both literally 2 meters apart. Phenomenal chef, and we keep each other on our toes. So that's exciting for me, and that's been the one key issue across the 10 years of filming Kitchen Nightmares. Never, ever, ever give up.
It takes years to become a great chef. What you need to do is establish confidence in yourself. Cooking is an amazing journey, and don't think you can learn it within 3 or 4 years. It's like studying medicine. It's over a 10 to 15 year period. I'm 42 years of age and I'm still learning new exciting things now that I bring back to the fold. But more importantly, vision, I think. I didn't think French was important at school, and I kick myself now because I went to live in France for 3 years and became bilingual. But I wish I'd studied harder with a second language on my belt. That gives you a different culture, gives you a completely different level of confidence. Learning French cuisine, mannerism, and cooking in a very robust, tenacious way. So yeah, vision and open-mindedness. And we never cut corners. The minute you start cutting corners in food, time out. There's no worse job to have than to cut corners in food. So attention to detail, an amazing, exciting journey. One of the very few jobs anywhere in the world that you can travel, get paid, and experience phenomenal food anywhere in the world. Brilliant. My first passion before food was football. But I was always a good eater, great lover of food, and I grew up partly in Scotland, partly down south. So we had that sort of token of appreciation of home-cooked food. Then I was very lucky to get on a foundation course, spending the last year of my school at a foundation course, studying maths, English 2.5 days a week, and then learning to cook for 2.5 days a week, and it was a sort of new experiment. Now we had trouble with buying my first set of whites and chef knives, and we depended on the Banbury round table to come up with something like £85–90 that Mum and Dad didn't have to get my first set of whites. So I still remember that day now, and how ecstatic and happy I was when I got given my first set of whites, my knives, and all of a sudden I wanted to go on that mission. Football was a sort of huge burning ambition, and I was trying to decide. Yeah, I had a horrific injury where I smashed my cartilage, and then all of a sudden, what do you do? You sit there and get better. But I had this little burning desire of this sort of chef, this ambition, and then I sort of channeled that frustration from football into cooking in a way that I just wanted to learn. The foundation course was huge. Did a sitting guild 706. I was a mature part-time student, and Mum and Dad didn't have the money to send me to college full-time. So it was hard. But what I did do is take a job in the industry. I worked 6 days a week and went to college 1 day a week. So then everything started becoming clearer. Got my qualifications, the basic, and then went to London. And that's where it really just took off. My advice to young chefs from the age of 16 to sort of 29, 30 is 14 years of a sponge. You're absorbing knowledge. Don't take a job for the sake of money. Don't worry about earning £500 a month or a year more somewhere else. Go and get knowledge, because that becomes a bigger passport for everything. The money will come once you've mastered your craft and you become incredibly talented. Work for big chefs and find a different level of comfort. When things get too comfortable and you're still living with your parents and you've still got your first job and you don't want to move out because everything's too comfortable, get out. Put yourself in a strange situation in the middle of Barcelona, put yourself in the middle of Paris, put yourself in the middle of Belgium, and see what's available. It's amazing how much confidence it gives you, and more importantly, it's great to sort of eat and travel at the same time. Fantastic.
One thing I've learned and experienced is that, if you don't open up and you don't delegate, then you'll kill yourself. And if there's one thing that I've managed to understand is the art of delegation, because if I can pass on, to Claire Smith, to Arian, my palette, my understanding, my knowledge, then grab it, run it, and then pass it on to your team. Don't hold that inside.
I suppose I get turned on by pressure. That's how I thrive. I spent 3 years getting my ass kicked in France, and then literally 8 years, 10 years, reading medicine, studying under some great chefs to really perfect my trade.
How do you deal with stress, Gordan Ramsay?
Good question. Pressure's healthy. It becomes stressful when you can't handle that. And I don't think we should never sort of misinterpret the difference between passion and anger. Of course I get upset when things go wrong. If I was flipping burgers and dressing Caesar salad, then I'd be high-fiving everybody. If I was a chef at TGI Fridays and doing barbecue wings with a sour dip that was sort of sat there for 30 days at a time, then you'd see a completely different Gordan. I decided not to cook at that level. I suppose I get turned on by pressure. That's how I thrive. So some of you, can handle that enormous amount of pressure, and I suppose more than anything, I don't think I've peaked yet. That's a weird thing about it. I don't feel I've given everything I've got in food.
So where do you get your passion from?
Passion got installed very early on in life. Sadly, what do you do at the age of 19? Do you get bitter? No, I just wanted to get even. So in that team-spirited fashion, kitchens function exactly the same way. But Mum always taught me to get off my arse and start whinging about spilt milk, go and look for the next cow. So that's my Scottish background, I think. And if I can't work and continue to be that passionate about what I do, to be honest, I'd rather not do it.
When you get all this knowledge and the advice for young chefs that are excited about opening their own business, don't shoot too high. Restaurants become successful because they cook within the vicinity they're sat within. Don't start reaching for stars and stripes. Focus on your customers. They're your biggest critics. Secondly, keep it local. Become the best bistro. Then after the bistro, take it up a little level. But make sure your customers and your brigade go up with you. Okay. Don't stand and shoot too high. Okay. It'll come back to bite you on the arse.
Do you think you're tougher on Hell's Kitchen contestants than MasterChef?
Two completely different competitions. Hell's Kitchen's about professionals. And like I said, even before I started working on television, I'd mastered my craft. I spent 3 years getting my ass kicked in France, and then literally 8 years, 10 years, reading medicine, studying under some great chefs to really perfect my trade. So then when I got a chance to sort of do my profession on television, it was Kitchen Nightmares that really started first. So that was real because I wanted these businesses to work. MasterChef is completely different. These are amateurs that have full-time jobs as firefighters, school teachers, bank clerks. And so the journey from apron to the finale, they finish like professional chefs. So the arc of that incredible, monumental journey is so exciting to see. With professional chefs in Hell's Kitchens, etc., I'm not going to tolerate their mistakes because they should know that stuff before they come anywhere near me.
Thirdly, is taking on competition. Everyone thinks that it's rife and it's difficult, but competition's healthy. Every time a new restaurant opens up, I'll make sure that if it's not me, one of my members of staff from the kitchen and the dining room are there over the competition. There's so much to learn from a bad meal and so much to gain from a good meal. So staying in front of your competition is healthy.
20 years ago, I got dealt a dysfunctional card. My little brother became a heroin addict and my father became an alcoholic. What do? Do I sit there and join my little brother? Or do I become an alcoholic alongside my father? No. I got off my arse, I stopped feeling sorry for myself, and I got on with it.
How competitive is, and how fiercely competitive, is the chef world? Not the TV part.
Good question. It's very competitive. The majority of chefs I know can't run a bath, let alone 18 restaurants across the world. And they are always striving to steal recipes or poach your number two or poach your maitre d' or poach your customers or do something. So very competitive. We have the Michelin Guide as our sort of standard bearer out there that keeps us all on our toes.
Do you have this ruthless way of approaching your character, who you are on Kitchen Nightmares, Hell's Kitchen? You have high standards professionally, but it must be said on TV at least, you attack kitchen staff on their gender, their appearance, their intelligence. It seems like you're bigger than life in your reality, your TV persona. Is that for an American audience? Is that is that a character you're playing?
First of all, I don't attack any form of gender, that's for sure. Being put in that situation under intense pressure creates, pressure in terms of explosion. Honestly, if I was flipping burgers and dressing Caesar salad, then I'll be the happiest chef in the world. Give me a slice of tuna for sashimi and no heat, then trust me, you'd see a different Gordan Ramsay. Where you see a very cleverly edited scenario with 45-minute cut down version, I don't play in an edit suite. That's nothing to do with me. All I do is keep it real. There's nothing poncy, there's nothing made up, there's no auto cue, there's no come on, let's get upset because it looks good. It's drama, unscripted, and I can't tell you what's going to happen because even I don't know what's going to happen. But what I will tell you is when people try to undermine me, lie to the customer, cut corners, and then try to, sort of almost in an embarrassing way, dictate to the customer that they know better in terms of trying to undermine their integrity, that's when I'm going to cut their balls off.
So many hours of TV that you're putting out. Is there ever a moment where you've thought, "Ooh, I regret that," because you're not sort of carefully thinking through sort of exactly how you're coming across on TV?
Do I regret it? I think there's always sort of regrets. What I never do is sit there and ponder as if we've made a mistake. All I want to do is find a solution. I call it as I see it. Sometimes that's incorrect, but at the end of the day, that's what you're going to get because I don't sit there and pretend. So, do I sit there and waste time? No, life's too short.